Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So check it, people. I totally faltered with my food. I know. So what happened? The usual. When I think of HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, I usually add an S for scared. I put an S for sick. I put an S for stress so that it actually says halts or Schultz. Whatever the case was, I was a wreck and I overrode that insight. I'll tell you that. Then, I most certainly of all of those has been the most tired, okay? Because we've had a lot going on. I've still been struggling with this lack of air conditioning. Then when we finally committed to an air conditioner, it was $13,000, and because we had to finance it, it'll be $22,000 unless we hurry up and pay it faster. There's no room in our life for hurry up and pay things faster. I don't know what God's plan is. We prayed about it, and He did approve the financing, and that was on Him because He could have said no. So I'm going to trust that there's going to be a means to pay for that. But mostly, I'm praying that it'll appease my husband, who has been beyond belief miserable, like a million times worse than me. I mean, yeah, I might fret a little, but it's like, whatever, I can deal. He's beyond miserable. And so I pray that this eases his burden. But there's no doubt that we just brought more debt into our life. I mean, come on. Isn't that the price of like a basic car? Whatever it is, it was a lot. Okay, but I was already on a rage of wanting to eat things that weren't appropriate for me before that. So what was that about? Well, again, pure exhaustion, but not too tired to eat wrong. And I freaked out at school today. So I had a really difficult weekend, as I suggested. And then at school today, we were supposed to step it up with actual content, academic content. And many of the teachers are using more than one device, and they also are using the smart board, none of which I'm very familiar with. And if the children are struggling, I can't even help them per se. I mean, I know more than the average person. I certainly know less than people who were raised on computers, and we certainly know those people, right? So I'm still trying to find my way. Whatever the case was, the children were getting kicked off left and right because, everyone's on at the same time, and that's just the way it is. And we were just trying to do our best. I wasn't able to do as much content as I had planned, which was bringing on anxiety to the max for me. And then, I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. I can assess it all I want. The bottom line is, I opened my mouth. I chose to put something in that didn't serve me, and I'll be wearing it tomorrow. And I don't just mean the actual weight of it, but my rings will be too tight inevitably. My face will be puffy, right? I'm like just the common things where my body's just going, why, Juliana, why? And I am sorry. I am sorry to my body. Trust me, for a moment, I was going to put my fingers down my throat and throw up, which is a really old behavior and tells me how incredibly desperate I am feeling. Like El Diablo is kind of hanging around me. My monkey mind is giggling in the background. Whatever tools I had, I did halt. I overrode it, Whatever those tools are, I do not have them in play. Does this have to go on to a second day? No, it does not. Do I have food prepared for tomorrow? I absolutely do. Will I choose to eat it? By all accounts, yes. But I'm just telling you out loud, because if I don't, I'll be in darkness. And darkness is a very ugly place. Worse than my mind, like literally. I don't want to be hiding from my Jules Blessed Vegan community, because I know you guys are thinking, gosh, she's so perfect all the time. How can I aspire to be like, okay, so you're not thinking that, but I'm just saying, yes, I still falter. Despite the vegan hair, which just keeps growing and growing, I falter, and I faltered, and I'm sorry for that. So I just wanted to check in. It's already 10 o'clock at night. I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, kind of working my way back to 4 a.m. again, and I had trouble last year. I was remembering back. So at the beginning of last year, not only was the district new to me and the grade level new to me, but the 100-mile drive was new to me. And I had one partner teacher, and poor thing went out ill. I ended up teaching 60 kids a day for a couple of months. I got another partner teacher. Sadly, they let her go at the end of the year, so I just got a new partner teacher, whom I'm pleased to have. But now I'm just remembering how exhausted I was to do that extra 100 miles a day. I mean, it really is time. I make the most of it. Yes, I make it, chapel on wheels, and I pray and I do what I can during that time. But there's no doubt that driving a couple extra hours a day is taxing, right? And then I just have all the other things, I have 32 new kids. I'm trying to figure them out online. I'll figure it out. One thing that I appreciated, and this, of course, was from Tanny Raw, whom I just dig her. If you're not a T-Raw fan, you need to wake up. She's pretty amazing. But one thing that she reminded me of was that one of the greatest teachers of all time was Fred Rogers, as in Mr. Rogers, and when you think about it, he was virtual. Okay, Fred Rogers was virtual, let's be fair. He was already talking through that TV set. Now, granted, he had a bunch of cameras and a whole set and plenty of time to practice his lines, but he was a virtual teacher and he changed the world. And that was really encouraging. I love that she mentioned that because I hadn't really thought of that perspective. And I was like, yeah, wait a minute. The thing for me, I've got down the entertainment value, okay? Kids are watching Nickelodeon and Disney when they see me, and they're not changing the channel. I'm good on that. For me, it's just all that technology. A lot of it's new to me. If there's a problem in the moment, I don't really have the tools to problem solve. I can do some of it. Luckily, some of my kids are techies, what I refer to as techies, and they're able to help a little bit. I think that insecurity and lack of confidence today just finally got me. I was like, well, I don't really need retirement. I can just let the job go and figure it out. God has a plan. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Calm down. Calm down. Another thing Tanny Raw always says is that it's not difficult, it's just different. I'd have to counter argue that it is difficult and it's different. I'll take them both, absolutely. All right, I just wanted to share, you guys. Again, I'm sorry to myself. So glad I didn't put my fingers down my throat. Such an old behavior. But I'll tell you why. Because God caught me in the middle of it. I was in that bathroom and I was absolutely talking my way through it. And out of nowhere, my husband, who'd gone to bed much earlier, was all of a sudden tapping at the door. In the moment, I'm not kidding you, tapping at the door saying, honey, are you in there? And I thought, really, Father? You're going to send my husband? I am not going to be this ugly version of myself. I've been clean and beautiful and lovely, and whatever this is, acting out in these ways will never serve me and not who I choose to be and present myself to be for my beautiful husband. So that was God. I'm not even kidding you. Like, my husband was nowhere. He was sound asleep. And how, pray tell, in that very moment was he tapping on the door? It was all God. I think even he was going, hooey, whatty? Like, what? Where am I? Aren't I in bed right now? I could just see the whole thing. It was all God. And the only body he had available was my husband. Anyway, thank you, Father. What it is, and I decided it long ago, was that if I chose to binge, and praise God, I barely have. I mean, when I see people who say, oh man, I made it 927 days and I blew it on the 28th and now I have to start over. No, you don't. No, you don't. Are you kidding me? That means for 927 out of 929 days, you know what I mean? You were completely clean. Like, get real. You don't need to restart the whole thing. Well, I promised myself a long time ago that if I was going to binge to the point of discomfort on anything, I would have to wear that. I would have to keep the discomfort in me. And that, purging wasn't an option. And yet, in this moment of insecurity and darkness, I found myself there. And of course, God pulled me out. All right, that's my truth, you guys. Some days are ugly, but every day is a day of hope, and every night. I mean, I still have tons of choices I could be binging on. No, I'm done. No. Kitchen closed, tea bar's open, and I'm just going to calm myself down, and I just want to be able to admit the insecurity. I just want to admit the panic attack and not punish myself with food over it, right? Yeah. All right, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for your support. And I hope I didn't trigger anyone, because ironically, as terrible as my story is, 11% of the population will say, oh, that sounds good, I'll do it. Yeah, that's a no. Don't act on it, people. Do not act on that terrible choice, okay? All right. Like if you like, join us if you haven't. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. I'll be fine. I just had to say it out loud. And until we talk again, my friends, best of all, know that you're blessed.